Alright then, so I just want to take a few minutes to talk about collections or list items inside Materialize, because sometimes I think they're overlooked a little. So at the minute we have a div with a class of container, an h2, a UL, and then several li tags inside, each with a customer name. There's no classes applied at the minute, and it looks something like this in a browser. So this looks okay at the minute, but really not great. Imagine this was some kind of admin panel and a user is going to use it. Ideally, we want to make it looking a little bit better than this. So we can do that very easily in Materialize by just distributing a couple of different classes. The first class is going to go on this UL tag, and it's called collection. Then we need to give each one of these a class of collection item. So I'm just going to Alt-Shift down in each one of these so I can select each one and then type in collection hyphen item. So just by adding those two classes right there, if we look at this in the browser, it already looks 10 times better. We've got a border and a bit of padding and everything just seems cleaner. Okay, cool. So what if we want a title at the top of the table? I know we have this one, but it's not part of the table itself or the list. So what if we want that? Well, all we need to do is, first of all, add a class to this UL, which says with hyphen header. This tells Materialize that this has a header inside the list and it's going to be at the top. So let's do another li, and this is going to have a class of collection hyphen header. So we need those two classes with header on the UL and then collection header on the top li. Then inside here we can do an h4 and it will say something like, I don't know, customers. So if we save that and view it in a browser, now we see that header. Looks pretty good, right? Okay, so this is good, but what if we wanted a bit more information about each user? Maybe what belt color they were or their phone number, maybe a little thumbnail icon on the left and an email button on the right. We can do all that. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and we'll start with the little icon on the right, I think, for an email. So we'll come over here and we'll just do one at a time. I'm going to get rid of this text first of all and open up this li tag. Then I'll create a span with a class of title, and this is going to be for the title of the li tag, so the name of the person. Then what I'm going to do is come underneath that span tag and I'm going to create an anchor tag, and this is going to have a class of secondary hyphen content. So this secondary content is going to flow over to the right, so the far side of each li tag. So if we now place an icon inside this by saying i.material hyphen icons, and the icon that we want is going to be email, and also I'd like to make this a blue text, so we'll say blue hyphen text. So save that, view it in a browser, and now we can see this thing over here. That's looking pretty good, right? So the next thing I'd like to do, and we'll spell blue correctly because I thought it looked a bit off. Okay, that looks a bit better. All right, so the next thing I'd like to do is add some content underneath the title. So where it says Ryu, underneath that, I'd like some extra information about the user. So we'll create a p tag, first of all, above this anchor, secondary content. We'll place a p there, and we don't need to give it a class, or in fact we will. We'll say grey hyphen text, and then inside that we'll say black hyphen belt. So save that, and we can see that secondary content right there now. Okay, so this looks a little bit weird over here, but we're going to rectify that in a second. And what we're going to do that is come over here and add in an icon at the start. So we'll say i.material hyphen icons. It's going to have a circle class to make it into a circle icon, and it's going to be blue, the background that is. So this is not blue text, this is blue background, and this is going to be a person. We also need to come up to the collection item itself and give it a class of avatar. So if I save this now and view this in a browser, then it's going to start to look a bit better now. So what we're saying here is, look, this collection item, we want it to have an avatar, so give it a bit more space. Therefore, we can place that avatar at the top, and because we have that bit more space, we can have a title and additional information about that user, as well as some secondary content over on the right. So that looks all like this. Looks good, right? So now what we could do is just copy all of this stuff right here and paste it in a couple of times instead of these two. like so, and let's just move them back over here, like that. Okay, and we'll change this one right here to Yoshi, and this one right here to Crystal. And let's just view this in a browser. So there we go. Now we have an icon for each one of these, a title, some extra content underneath, and then a button over here for emailing that user on the right. And that was very simple to do, right? We just have a few different classes for these different collection items.